AM 630.
It is 8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Wilson Neiman, we're in the house today. We're joined on the phone line by Matt LeTourneau, who is the Loudoun County Supervisor. And boy, we got a lot of stuff we need to talk to you about today. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me this morning.
All right, so the big MWA, the Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority, made a decision yesterday to do away with the PLA, the Project Labor Agreement. That was something that the state had said, look, if you get rid of that, then maybe we'll get back in and we'll be supportive of that. Some question whether or not Loudoun's going to be on board with that now. What do you think?
Well, then there's still a question, but I will tell you the PLA was a major barrier to entry for us into this project. With the union preferences, with the mandatory union preferences, there was no chance whatsoever that Loudoun County would be part of the Silver Line project. And now I would say there's at least a 50-50 chance, so it's good news from that standpoint.
50-50, so it could still go the other way.
It could. We're having some very intense discussions about how to pay for this project. It's about a $270 million commitment for us on the capital side, and then annually between about $15 and $20 million. I think we are making some progress. We had an excellent finance session last night, lasted about 3 hours. We really found out that using our general fund, the impact of the tax rate would not be all that significant, depending on how we managed our debt and financing. We'd be looking at about $15 million a year to pay for both rail and to maintain our Loudoun County Transit System bus service.
Well, where are you?
I was concerned about the affordability of the project. I've always supported Metro in concept. I think it'll bring jobs to Loudoun County. It'll provide access for commuters. Based on what I'm hearing about the affordability and the financing options available to us, a lot of those concerns that I had have been alleviated. I really think it's something that the people of Loudoun County overwhelmingly want. We had a public input session earlier this week. We had over 80 people come out in support of rail, about 25 to 30 people against it. Our emails are running about 700 in favor, maybe 200 opposed. So really, people are coming out and telling us they want us to find a way to make this work, and I think it's our responsibility to do that.
Is Metro going to Dulles no matter what? I mean, the Loudoun County part of it, you only have, 2 stops after Dulles?
Yeah, 2 stops, although the Route 28 station, although it's technically in Fairfax, most of the area around it is in Loudoun. That's been said, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. If we opt out of the project ends at Willie Avenue in Reston, and all of the other funding partners have to go back to the table, which will take them at least 18 to 24 months to figure out a way to pay for it to get to rail. A lot can happen in 18 to 24 months. There'll be, in all likelihood, a different administration in Richmond that might have a different view of this project. You just don't know what's going to happen with the economic climate, and you don't know if MWA in Fairfax County will be able to come up with the extra money. The other thing that will happen is that MWA will have to raise tolls on the Dulles Toll Road even more without Loudoun's involvement, because they'll have to make up that difference. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a sure thing to get it to Dulles Airport, and certainly there's an interest in the region to having rail access to Dulles.
All right, how will it be paid for then, from the capital expense and then the yearly expense after that?
We're looking at a variety of bond options for us. Right now, actually, it's a very favorable market. It's the most favorable market really in the last 30 years for municipal bonds. So that's really what we're looking for. We're also, in terms of how we pay for those bonds, looking at perhaps a combination of using general fund revenue and special tax districts around the stations and or commercial industrial tax, which I personally do not favor because I don't want to tax businesses. But I think really the key takeaway on this is our new Board of Supervisors cut our budget last year and reduced the tax rate by 5 cents. To pay for rail and maintain our bus service would only cost us about 2 cents a year. So my challenge to my colleagues is to come up with that 2 cents in our budget, tighten our belts a little bit, and do this without raising taxes, because I think we can.
What a concept, cutting the budget and actually finding it somewhere. I love that.
When will the vote actually take place?
I believe the vote will be on July 3rd.
Okay, so the day before.
Could be June 19th. I think it's much more likely to be July 3rd. We'll have another work session on Metro because we're really trying to come up with a framework on the funding mechanism prior to taking that vote. So we'll see where that goes.
But it is possible the vote could happen, and then you won't know exactly how it will be paid for.
I think we'll have a framework in place. We probably won't know the specifics because we don't have to actually do our budget until next January is when we start that process. We may want to go to Richmond and ask for special authority to tweak some of these tax districts, which are currently permissible in law, but maybe make some changes to them. It's going to take us some time. I want to make sure there's a public process if we are looking at tax districts and we're going to kind of carve a station, carve a radius around those stations. I want to make sure folks who are in that radius have the opportunity to speak out, and we can work with them to make it work. So I don't want to rush that decision, but at the same time, I think it does make sense to have at least an idea of how we're going to pay for it.
All right, got to ask you about the Redskins. You're going to see an upgrade of the facility in Ashburn. You folks are putting up $400,000 for that.
No, $2 million, right? Isn't that the number?
Well, the
Loud, that's right. I'm sorry,
terms of our agreement, we will be discussing in the coming month or so. We haven't released kind of that aspect of it, but we have been working with the governor's office and the Washington Redskins on this deal, and it's a big win for Loudoun County.
Well, so how much money are you going to pony up?
The number is somewhere in the range that you were discussing, but we want to go ahead and get all the details out there for folks so they can understand, because it isn't going to be just something that we're contributing to. It's going to be an actual partnership between the county. But we'll be discussing that at a later date.
All right, but so $4 million from the state, somewhere in the neighborhood of $2 million, possibly coming from Loudoun, and Richmond's going to throw in $400,000. Should public money be given to a millionaire?
Well, and that's why I was saying we really want to be able to discuss the total components of Loudoun's package, because we won't be just giving money to them. It's going to be far beyond that. It's going to be a partnership in which we're receiving a lot of benefits.
Hold it. I got to stop you, Matt, because when you read the stories about this, it's like, oh, it's all done. You're telling me it's not done.
It is. The components and the framework are in place, and what was announced yesterday is that the Redskins will be staying in Loudoun County and in Virginia. But there is an additional component to this involving Loudoun County, which has not been finalized formally yet, but is in the works, and that's part of the package that we're looking at. And the reason why for us it's important is because they're a major corporate. You think of the Redskins as a sports franchise and as a team, but they have offices and they have a lot of employees. They have people that work in Loudoun. So we wanted to keep them there. We were competing with jurisdictions in Maryland and, of course, in D.C. I think it says something about Loudoun County that the Redskins are willing to commit and stay here and expand their facilities.
All right, Matt, it's good to have you on as always. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Good
very
stuff.
much.
Thanks a lot,
Bye.
man.
I'm Matt Letourneau, Loudoun County Supervisor. I'm sure that will be somewhat controversial as more details come up. My guess is that Loudoun County residents may get something out of it. The ability maybe to go to Redskins Park or do some things, or maybe some opportunities to make money off of the Redskins.
I said it
some
before.
kind of form.
Money spent on economic development usually comes back to you in spades.
You also have multi-millionaires who live in Loudoun County, which is always nice to have. And if they leave Loudoun County or they leave Virginia and they move their headquarters to Maryland or D.C., those people move with the new location.